welcome to this episode of Behind the Wrestler. My guest this evening is none other than the Spartan Sam Black, the current WPW He Toa Cup champion. Thank you very much for taking this time out and to give us a little inside story on the Spartan. The first and foremost question, which you're going to get asked multiple times, who, when and where inspired you to become a professional wrestler?
Who, when and where?
Yeah.
We'll start with when. I've always wanted to be a wrestler. Ever since I was a little kid. I was about 7 years old. I saw my first match on SmackDown. And I thought, wow, I'd love to do this. And then I got told by everyone, you can't actually do it as a career. It's not actually viable. Then I turned 18, moved to Wellington, started up with WPW, and as they say, the rest is history.
How did mum and dad and everybody else and the people who obviously said that it's not viable as a career, or it's not, you can't do it because it's not a realistic thing, how do those people react now?
It was always my family that was telling me I couldn't do it. It's never something that I can make a living out of. And actually, I didn't tell my parents or any of my family members that I was wrestling for a good 12 months into my training. It was only when I was about to have my first match when I actually told them about it. And after that, they pretended to be supportive, but I still see that they don't see it as a realistic future.
You said you moved down to Wellington, and you found a training school, WPW, NZWPW, and so let's talk about how did you go about trying to find a wrestling school down here, and how was first day of training? Like, what was the mentality going through your mind?
Right. Well, and honestly, until I was about 14 or 15, I didn't even know that there was more than one wrestling company in the world. I thought it was the WWE. And then when I eventually found out about promotions like Ring of Honor, New Japan, Rev Pro, then I realised, it's actually it's bigger than I thought it was, but there's not going to be anything in New Zealand. And so it wasn't until I was about 17 that I actually found out that there was wrestling in New Zealand. And then I got to use university as an excuse to move away from home and find a wrestling school. So that's how I found WPW. First day of training was probably the most scared, but also the most excited I've ever been. This was something 11 years in the making, telling myself one day I'll do this, and now it's actually happening. I didn't know what to expect, honestly, but I'm so glad I took that step, because it's led to so much more.
After first day of training, how did you feel the next day after your first couple of bumps and couple of slams and stuff? Because everybody thinks the ring is a trampoline. It's not a trampoline.
Yeah. My first day of training, I didn't actually get in the ring. They had some thin green mats down on some concrete, and they were testing my rolls, making sure I could do a forward backwards roll without breaking my neck. And I remember thinking, man, this is really solid, this hurts. And then I said, is there any chance I could get in the ring where it's a bit softer? And the guy who's training me looked at me and said, "Oh, no mate, the ring's a lot harder than this. These couple of thin mats on concrete. This is much more comfortable. You want to be here, you want to learn how to do this here before you get in the ring." So that, it took me back a few steps, but then eventually, once I got in the ring, I remember the first time I took any sort of move was a scoop slam from rough guts. And man, that first one hurt. And then the second one, he picked me up again, he gave me a rough driver. And I don't think I walked straight for about a week and a half after that.
Yeah, I know the feeling about the rough driver. I'm all familiar with that move. So, you've been training for a while now, and you are the current WWPW He Toa Cup champion. You found out that you're going to be debuting and having your first match and actually being on shows and making this goal and this dream coming true. What was the thought process when you found out that, oh damn, I'm actually debuting? And you've wrestled Cam Owens multiple times, and you two have worked like multiple times, and you guys know each other's skills at the back of your guys' hands. So what was the thought process going through of all of this, and finding out that okay, this is actually happening now?
Yeah, man. So I found out about a month before that I was going to be debuting at the next show, and I was really excited. I couldn't wait to finally live my dream. And then the day beforehand, I realized I'm going to be up there in front of 100 people with my shirt off wrestling. This is the scariest thing I've ever done, aside from showing up to the first training. So yeah, they were probably the longest 2 days of my life before my first show. But I was really glad I could wrestle Cam, someone I knew quite well. Someone who was quite new, although he was quite new like me, he had the skills to guide me through a match. I've wrestled him 5 times since then. And I'm really glad that I got to share all those experiences with him.
He's still an arrogant little prick though.
He has his moments. He's a different person when he gets in the ring, you could say.
Yeah.
Compared to when he's in the car next to you for 9 hours.
Yeah, we all know the story about that, Henry, don't we? So, fast forwarding, and you've got to wrestle pretty much one of your trainers on the show. If not, but you've got to wrestle all your trainers on the show now. But going up against the shooter, Shane Sinclair, and getting to wrestle him, what was the thought process of you finding out that, okay, one of the guys that has taught me, I'm going to be stepping in the ring with him, and I get to learn one-on-one on a show basis. So how was the thought process, and how did you prepare yourself to wrestle Shane?
Yeah, wrestling the shooter was it's by far the most excited, the most nervous I've been for a match. Like I say, Shane's one of the best wrestlers in the country, if not the best wrestler in the country. And he's trained me for most of my training, really. And just about a month before our match, Charlie Roberts gave me the nickname Shaju, or Shane Jr., because he thought our styles were so alike. So after that, I was really excited to get in the ring with him. Really scared, and it was quite sore afterwards. They don't call him the shooter for nothing.
Yeah, they don't.
My left rotator cuff still healing.
Oof.
But it was a great match. The biggest win of my career so far as well.
Yeah, like getting to step in against the shooter is, it tests your abilities because he takes you to the limit, if not more. He will try and get that extra mile and trying to force you to go to that fifth gear because, I've been in the ring with him and I barely survived against him. And that was 3 years ago. That was such a long time ago and I barely survived against him.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you can't keep up,
yeah,
he'll beat you half to death twice.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And you went on and competed. Now let's move on to you winning your first championship and have your first championship under your belt now. You won the WPW He Toa Cup champion from the former champion, Cam Owens the Third, who won it from the former champion, the NZWPW by eliminating 20 plus wrestlers over the top and walked out the new He Toa Cup champion. And you guys went through a series of matches and you came out the victor and are now the current champion and have had amazing defenses so far. But being the champion, awesome. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. But it also puts a target on your back because it also shows that yes, it's a symbol of all the hard work and all the blood, sweat and tears that you've put in, all make it worth it. But it also shows that okay, you got a bullseye on your back, but it also shows that now I have to put my standards even higher and try and be that role model, and be more like, more, I hate the word professional, but you just have to be more professional because there's more eyes on you as the champion. But yeah, you won the WPW He Toa Cup champion. Let's talk about the night that you won it against Cam Owens. How was the feeling before, and how was the feeling after holding that cup? And you're like, shit, this is actually, it's in my hand. Like, how did that sink in?
Yeah. Well, we've had 5 matches now, Cam and I, like I said. Leading up to our last match, I'd beaten him twice and he'd beaten me twice. So, if you're looking at statistics, you could say it was 50-50, it could go either way, but I was confident. I knew I could beat him. The last time we faced off, he had to cheat to beat me, so I knew I had him exactly where I wanted him. And then when he had me in that Hell's Gate, and I lifted him up, slammed him down for that powerbomb, when his head bounced off the canvas, and the ref counted his shoulders, it was euphoric. Yeah, and then like you say, it was euphoric for that moment because I knew everything I'd grinded for, everything I'd worked for to get there, it was all just about to get a whole lot harder.
Yeah, always, like being a champion is great, but it's so much pressure on you because you, like, obviously you put in the hours, you've put in the time, you've put in the effort, you've done everything that they've asked, and you became the champion. But it also means that now you have to step up and you have to work 20 times harder to make sure that okay, if and whoever looks up to you or anyone who wants to be champion, they have to be like, okay, cool. The way that I could become champion is I have to outwork the champion, and that is a very hard thing to do because the champion is working 10 times more harder to show that okay, if you guys want to be champion, this is how it's done. It's purely hard work. That's how you become champion. It's blood, sweat, and tears. That's what makes you a champion, right? And you becoming champion, and now you had a defense last night, which kind of got interfered. But you got a defense tonight. And we're in Wainui Community Hall, and you're going up against the Thunderbird Daniel Martins, the current Hughes Academy champion. What is your thought process, and how are you, I know it's only been less than 24 hours since you found out that you're facing him and the cup's on the line. What's the thought process? How are you preparing yourself? And how do you think tonight's gonna go?
Well, like you say, being a champion definitely does put a target on your back. It's shown last night by the Thunderbird interrupting my defence against Aurora Maxima. How am I preparing for tonight's match? Well, I've been preparing for tonight's match for the last 18 months. Everything I've done since I first rocked up to that first training has been leading up to something like this. I knew one day something like this would inevitably happen, and I'll have to be ready for it. So I've been ready for it.
What's your thoughts on Daniel Martins? As he's been around for a very long time, and he's gone up against some of the best wrestlers that this country has to offer. And no offense to anybody, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, and I apologize if it comes across like that, but in my eyes, Daniel Martins, and I do have a lot of respect for him, I believe he is one of the best wrestlers that this country has to offer. Not like he's part of that category of Shane Sinclair, Graham Hughes, Charlie Roberts. And the list just keeps going on and on and on. And he's part of that category. He's had matches with Graham Hughes, he's had matches with Charlie Roberts, he's had runs in with the shooter. He's versed almost everybody. He's also had a run in with Spencer Kyle as well, and his work just gets better and better. From where he was to where he is now, he is in a whole different ball game. And what do you hope the outcome is going to be tonight?
Well, there's absolutely no denying that he's a skilled athlete. He's a brilliant wrestler. And that's proved even further by the fact that he is the Hughes Academy heavyweight champion. But he's never faced anyone like me. He's never stepped foot in the ring with anyone like me. He got a taste of it last night. But let me tell you, that's nothing compared to what he's going to feel tonight. Now
that we've got the serious moment out of the way, I'm gonna ask everybody this question anyway. So what are your thoughts on the New Zealand wrestling scene now that it has a lot more eyes on it now, from not just what's going on here at the moment, but international wise there's a lot more eyes on it. So what are your thoughts and your opinions on the scene now?
Well, honestly, I haven't. 2 years ago, I didn't even know there was a New Zealand wrestling scene. But from what I've seen, just in the last 18 months, I've seen it grow, especially with bigger companies like UCW, SPW, IPW getting international stars and really putting the spotlight on New Zealand. I think it's awesome for New Zealand wrestling, for the fans and for the wrestlers. One, it gives the fans more content, more shows, better wrestling, more things to look forward to. And for the wrestlers, it gives them more opportunity to, if they just want to wrestle, more opportunity to wrestle. If they want to get out there and make make a living off wrestling, then it gives them more opportunity to make it.
What is Sam Black's goal? What would you like to get out of being a professional wrestler? What is your ultimate goal as a professional wrestler?
So whenever I tell somebody I'm a pro wrestler, the question I get 10 times out of 10 is, so what's the goal with that? You want to make it to WWE? And yeah, of course I want to make it to WWE. I can't imagine any wrestler that would say no to WWE. But you have to look realistically. Is that a viable option? I'm not sure. Maybe one day, but for now I'm just trying to focus on becoming as good a wrestler as I possibly can. And the end goal for me is just being able to wrestle as much as I possibly can. If I can make a living off wrestling, then I can die a happy man.
What is next for the Spartan?
Obviously, I've got my He Toa Cup defence tonight. Assuming that goes all according to plan. I just want to prove to everyone that I'm a fighting champion. I'm a champion for the people, and I want to prove to the people that I'm there for them. So any wrestler that wants a shot at my He Toa Cup championship, all you have to do is ask.
Thank you very much for taking the time out and giving us an insight of the Spartan. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Behind the Wrestler.